Heads of state. In November 1893, President Grover Cleveland sent an ambassador to visit the recently overthrown Queen of Hawaii, and the ambassador was like, sorry about the coup our guys did. They really didn't have permission for that, and the president wants to put you back in power. But first we gotta ask, are you open to giving amnesty to all the guys involved in the coup? And Queen Liliuokalani replied, quote, my decision would be, as the law directs, that such persons should be beheaded, and their property confiscated. And the ambassador was, like, you want them to be beheaded? And she was like, yes. And the ambassador is so stunned that he asks around like, hey, I think there may be a miscommunication. How good is the Queen's English, really? And everyone's like, oh no, she understands English perfectly. She's gonna cut their heads off. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are gonna be looking at r/Tumblr. It's a sub dedicated to screenshots of jokes, discussions, and some other things from the social media site Tumblr. I also have an announcement at the end, so stick around till then. With that being said, let's get onto the video. Mary Shelley would definitely be a monster fricker if she was alive today. The most unrealistic part of Frankenstein is that nobody was attracted to the creature at all. Are you telling me that he traveled all over Europe and didn't come across one monster fricker? He was 8 feet tall with flowing black locks. He had enhanced speed and agility, and not only could he speak French, but he knew how to use the word "the," and nobody Debbie Ryan at the sight of him. Nobody was like, so what's in his pants? Nobody wanted to climb that fricker like a tree. Impossible. I refuse to believe it. Therapy sandwich. Sometimes I'm like, my therapist doesn't really tell me anything I don't already know, but then I remember that I used to eat scrambled eggs every single morning because I hated them, but I hated them less than I hate all other breakfast food on weekdays. Don't at me, waffles are a weekend food, and they do not start me on a productive path. And my therapist said, why not eat a lunch food? And I said, explain. And she said, you know you're allowed to eat whatever food you want in the morning. You are not bound by law to the traditional American breakfast. My father's insurance pays $100 an hour for a woman to give me permission to eat a PB&J at 6 in the morning. A bit unorthodox. Had a dream that I was accidentally entered into a Christian rap competition, and the only thing I could think to rap about was my current interest in pickling onions. The crowd thought my pickled red onion brine for Jesus rap was so cringe that they didn't even boo. The entire venue just went completely silent until I felt awkward and left. This would have done numbers with Russian Orthodox Christians. You were just playing to the wrong crowd, king. Protestants have no culture. Are my pickled red onion bars whack? No, it is simply the Protestants who are wrong. It's bullcrap. Every time I think about the entry-level job paradox, my head feels like it's gonna explode. Whenever I think about all the people that didn't hire me to be a busser because I didn't have any restaurant experience, even though it's the lowest ranking job in the restaurant, I feel a dangerous urge to strangle the hiring manager. Some internships ask for experience. Internships, you know, the places you're supposed to get experience, those things, I wanna read a door. Quite frankly, I don't know how anyone gets into any industry. Any of them. Office workers must just spawn like Minecraft mobs or something. Professionalism at its peak. Our home security system is being updated today, and the guy in charge is just peak Gen Z. No professional fix given by bandits. Hysterical. I mean, I'm supposed to recommend stuff, like you should probably put a sensor on that window too, but like, that's really a you decision. I just have to say this stuff out loud so I don't get sued if you get broken into. So, like, just to clarify, you don't want the cameras, right? Only I need to make sure, because sometimes people say no on the phone, and then when I'm leaving, they ask me why I haven't installed the cameras yet, and I'm just like, that's a you problem. I'm going home. Leaning around the corner of my office to talk to me. Hey, do you know where Mothman went? Actually, never mind. You're probably the detail-oriented one. I can tell by the gestures at my candy floss colored goth office. Whatever this is. So like, the new alarm panel is smaller than the old one, and the old one pulled off some of the paint. I can try to hide it, but it won't be perfect. You don't care? Sweet. I'm always ready for people to yell at me. Hey, so I need to test the smoke alarm. before we put it up, but I don't want to frighten your little dog. I'll try to muffle it, but you might want to hold her, clutching the alarm to his abdomen, like Steve Rogers falling on a grenade. I'm sorry little dog, I'm so sorry. But was little dog frightened? She was. But she was also very brave, and got a treat. Hashtag what a good technician. I smell money. One time, my brother's friend walked into his room and just started sniffing the air, and went, oh I smell a quarter, and walked over to a pile of clothes, and moved it, and picked up a quarter, and I literally can't stop thinking about it. It's been like a year and it haunts me to this day. Is your brother's friend Mr. Krabs? Item hoarding in games. Saves rare items for the most dire of situations. Gets through the whole game without using any of them. What if there's an emergency? Gets into an emergency. What if there's a bigger emergency? What do you all think of this? Any story that someone tells you in the kitchen is a good one. There are some stories which my mother does not tell when there are men present. Never at dinner, never at parties. She tells them to women only, usually in the kitchen, when they or we are helping with the dishes or shelling peas, or taking the tops and tails off the string beans, or husking corn. She tells them in a lowered voice, without moving her hands around in the air, and they contain no sound effects. These are stories of romantic betrayals, unwanted pregnancies, illnesses of various horrible kinds, marital infidelities, mental breakdowns, tragic suicides, unpleasant lingering deaths. They are not rich in detail, or embroidered with incident. They are stark and factual. The women, their own hands moving among the dirty dishes or the husks of vegetables, not solemnly. Some of these stories, it is understood, are not to be passed on to my father, because they would upset him. It is well known that women can deal with this sort of thing better than men can. Men are not to be told anything they might find too painful. The secret depths of human nature, the sordid physicalities, might overwhelm or damage them. For instance, men often faint at the sight of their own blood, to which they are not accustomed. For this reason you should never stand behind one in the line at the Red Cross donor clinic. Men, for some mysterious reason, find life more difficult than women do. My mother believes this, despite the female bodies, trapped, diseased, disappearing, or abandoned, that litter her stories. Men must be allowed to play in the sandbox of their choice, as happily as they can, without disturbance, otherwise they get cranky, and won't eat their dinners. There are all kinds of things that men are simply not equipped to understand, so why expect it of them? Not everyone shares this belief about men. Nevertheless, it has its uses. She dug up the shrubs from around the house, says my mother. This story is about a shattered marriage. Serious business. My mother's eyes widen. The other women lean forward. All she left him were the shower curtains. There is a collective sigh, an expelling of breath. My father enters the kitchen, wondering when the tea will be ready, and the women close ranks, turning to him their deceptive blankly smiling faces. Soon afterwards, my mother emerges from the kitchen, carrying the teapot, and sets it down on the table in its ritual place. Bluebeard's egg, Margaret Atwood, Shrek, Beauty and the Beast but reverse. I kiss the love of my life, and she turns into a sick freaking monster and it's awesome. Shrek. Never mind post cancelled. You hear a distinct ding. You pick up a small device. On its small screen it simply says 1 skill point remaining, and a list of 8 attributes. You click on strength and instantly feel your muscles stiffen a little. The screen now says level up, to gain more skill points. Jump cut to me in a shady alley, armed with a tennis racket swinging at rats with wild abandon. 50 Shades of Mouse. Minnie is dripping with excitement as she celebrates the centenary of the Walt Disney Company in her typically fashionable style with this ear headband. Part of the Disney 100 Platinum celebration, this limited release commemorative ear headband has been designed by Disney artists for a special reflective platinum dipped effect, and includes a coordinating padded bow, all presented in a special keepsake box. Minnie is what? I'd like to shake the hand of the artist who pitched this to corporate. Hashtag the hats even look like they're covered in nut. Hashtag for God's sake. Zombie Wrangler. This translator did not know the English word necromancer, but they improvised. And honestly this is better. We can ask the zombie wrangler to wake up all of the waxed corpses. What show or movie is this from? based on their style of dress. It's set in Qing Dynasty China, which probably makes it a Hong Kong vampire movie. A quick search suggests it might be the era of vampires. Another highly recommended Hong Kong vampire movie is Mr. Vampire. Link is to video essay by Accented Cinema. Good, never change. Monarchies in the 21st century are so funny. We used to claim this one super wealthy family was appointed divine rights by a giant, bearded guy in the sky, but that excuse doesn't fly anymore. So now the reason is, because that's the way it already was. Ceremonial figureheads are an important part of our heritage. Great. Stick them in a museum with the rest of the relics. See, this never would have happened if you'd kept her in a sterile UV protected humidity controlled display case. Why is the goth kid always named Kyle? Honestly, being a vampire who is also a goth kid is the best possible cover. Nobody's gonna think the kid in all black, with an umbrella and sunglasses and a shirt that says bite me is actually a vampire. They'll just think you're a goth kid pretending to be a vampire. I drink blood to sustain myself and to heal mortal wounds. Heh, yeah, sure yeah do Kyle. Hashtag vampire. YouTube trending. YouTube trending confuses me so much. Like, who is watching any of that? It's like videos made for Sims. Stew. I made stew. It was awesome. I love potatoes. I love you too. Wait, what was in the stew? The one thing in Australia not trying to kill you. I don't know if you're Americans and that know this, but in Australia, instead of snow at Christmas, we get these little shiny bugs everywhere, and they're attracted to the Christmas lights and we call them Christmas beetles. And despite being Australian, they don't bite or anything, they just crawl around on your hand and it's a good and pure feeling. And yeah, despite being Australian, we know what you're thinking, but this does not want to kill you. Even as future series progress, Ben still remains a child at heart, especially with his transformations. Ben 10 is actually the most realistic series centering around a child who suddenly gains superpowers because he just uses them for stupid petty mundane crap. Uses my messed up alien eldritch ghost powers to steal a golf cart. They make a good argument. Why would a candle that's already lit want to be with a match? Also, her being lit is going to eventually melt her and reduce her to nothing. Match guy is an abusive sad boy who thinks he's the victim when Candle Girl just wants someone who will keep her alive. I'm here for this analysis, and that's why I spend 8 hours a day at the aquarium. Congrats on making it to the end. As promised, it's announcement time. The announcement is that after this video, I'm hopefully gonna start using my actual voice instead of this TTS voice. My hope is that it'll make the editing process a lot faster than my current method, and it won't be quite as exhausting. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comments down below. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you liked it, consider leaving a like and subscribing to keep up with my videos. I hope you have an amazing day, night, or whatever it is where you are, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.